Cool. So we've established kind of conceptually, again, the three things we know to be true. Number one, the turtle is inherently vulnerable. Number two, it grows in vulnerability the longer you stay there as a result of the fact that they can start every attack they do. If it has any degree of formidability, will facilitate a response, and every response will facilitate an opening, and every opening will facilitate an exploitation, and every exploitation will facilitate another response, and so on. You get this feedback loop until it's like I don't know if this feels accurate to your experience as rolling, but if you ever feel like you're in the turtle or something, or they have the back exposure, and it feels like you're technically defending everything, but you kind of defend yourself into a back mount, right? And it's just what's happening is like they went for your collar, you defended it. They go to your hips, you're like, oh no. Then they go back to the collar, then they're trying to attack the arm, and it's like it just keeps these responses keep creating openings. Because at the end of the day, if someone's behind you, you're in a vulnerable spot. None of your body's not designed to turn that way, right? So, that's my deep insight for the day. Your body's not designed to turn that way.
I'll make it.
Right, that's right. I like feel like a weird transformer. It's like try to take my back now. You're like, you know what? Actually, I think I'm done. I just figure like some guy who like worked on his flexibility to be so formidable that he's just like someone takes his back. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, that dude's flexible. That was wild. Like, I didn't want to keep going to get the tap because I was worried. People that are that flexible, it's like it'll be like, oh, they're flexible. Snap, their joints ruined. They're like, oh, I just ruined this 22-year-old dude. Like, just to prove that Kimura's work. I'm like, just block him. Just block him. But anyway, so we established those two things to be true, and then of course, the third thing to be true, which is that when people pass the guard, they are inherently going to advance toward the position they're trying to secure, right? Which means that if we can facilitate the turtle in the transition as we've been working, they're thinking secure side control, which means that they're thinking drive forward pressure, which means that they're not really controlling the hips, right? Does that make sense? Again, that doesn't account for every situation, but what it basically means is if I can facilitate this turtling motion, whether it be the big hip elevation to the back roll or the movement we're about to work in a moment, which is the inward turn to the knees, if I can facilitate either of those in the context in which they're passing, they're not moving. For them to secure the position they're trying to secure, they have to move in a way that doesn't address the technique that I'm doing to them. Does that make sense? Right? Like, so we talked about, again, method one of co-opting our opponent's momentum. If they move us, we collaborate. So of course we go to method two. If they move themselves, we evade, right? So if John here is in his knee cut, we'll go really slow on this one. Let's start with your foot kind of stepped up, right? And then he starts to slice through, and as his hips clear my hips, that's when I start to vocalize, right? More importantly, if as his hips clear my hips, you're gonna come to side control, so we go back. Right, we're here, he knee cuts, and as he cuts, he goes to side control. Look at that, guys. And you can start to see where like they're going to turn to face you, right? You can start to see how that presents itself. But the point is, the second he clears away from my hips, as we established on Monday, I do have a pretty good access, like pretty strong access to getting to that turtle position. Now, the only thing we're going to work on is accommodating for the follow-up movement, which is the sit back. Now, I want to talk a bit specifically about the mechanics of this for a moment, and then I'll put this back in context. So I'm here, right? Okay. The thing I want to think about is distributing my weight. So once I'm up here and kind of like, Mark likes to call this like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, right? You're like up here, the sort of hip elevation position. My weight's going to be in my upper body, right? So what I have to do to make this effective is I have to take my weight back towards my upper body, or lower body, right? So if I'm here, I have to go and get my weight to my hips. One of the reasons why people sometimes have trouble with this movement is because I think they try to sit backward without getting their weight backward. And obviously that's not going to be very effective, just for pretty common sense principles. So the easiest way to get my weight backward is going to be to generate momentum, the same thing that our opponent was doing to generate speed to get the knee cut. And my best tool for doing that is going to be this extended leg, right? So I'm here, and this leg can swing pretty freely. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to accompany that leg swing, right, with my hand that's on the floor pushing me back. Now again, I'm not, the cart is not pulling the horse here. I don't try to push myself back into it because remember, their upper body is going to be on your shoulders in this situation. It's not realistic that you would bench, push up, one arm push up somebody over top of you like that. But if I'm here and then I swing, I can kind of accompany that movement, right? The last thing I have to make sure I do, because we'll go into this in more detail when we talk about the ways that sometimes this whole turtle thing gets a little screwed up, but to just touch on the idea for a second, the death of this thing is allowing your hips to flop sideways, right? Just to put me in stack pass, if John manages to say he shucks my legs and my hip touches down and then he's going to side control, to try to turtle at this point is going to be kind of hard, not impossible, but once my hip touches down, I'm now fighting against resistance. I no longer have that element of him fighting to secure a position that doesn't address my turtle. He's addressing my turtle now, which means that the second that he decides, oh, this is a turtle fight, what's the first thing he's going to think about doing? Take my back, right? Which means he's going to try to get behind me, which means now I got to accommodate for that. It's too many variables to start putting into the matrix. So when I do this so putting that in context here is when I'm here and I sit through. If I sit through and I drop to my hip, I've lost all position, right? If we put that in context, you're here, you knee cut, right? You're going for side control. If I sit through and I try to drop, he's gonna circle behind, he's gonna smash into me, right? And I've lost everything. If I let this hip touch down to the side, I no longer have what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? So what I have to make happen, we'll just kind of freeze in the middle here, is I have to go straight backwards. And the way I want to think of it, actually I'm kind of glad we had that conversation earlier, is this shin is going to move inward like a saloon door. Okay? So this shin right here. This shin right here, this one. Right? So I'm here, I swing, and as I swing, it's almost like if you imagine there was a string tied to my ankle from my two ankles. I'm here, I swing, and it swings in with me. I don't really think you need a ton of flexibility to do that, as long as you just kind of make it one smooth motion. So all together, I'm here. So you see how I kind of went straight back to my butt. It didn't drop on the side of my head. So when we put that in context, top, we'll go a little slow. Oh, that's okay. We'll go really slow, right? He passes through, I'm up. And out. More than likely, we end up in an open guard situation, right? Where he's facing me. So if we switch positions, you think you got that? No. Cool. I'm going to knee cut this way. So we're here. So we go here, right? As I knee cut through and try to settle, he elevates and then he sits back. And I'm likely going to end up in the guard. But even, I want you to do that again, and this time don't grab a hold of me. Just let yourself release me. So again, we're here. Boom, I cut through and I'm settling, and he just sits backward. And now he's in front of me. Does that make sense, guys? So once again, they're trying to win a side control fight, and you're turning it into a turtle evasion fight. And by the time that they would address the turtle, you're already away from it. But if we show the difference, let me get you down one more time. This time, fall to that hip. Here, he cut through, and he settled. Instead of sitting back, he lets himself fall to his hip. Right. He's going to get smashed immediately, right? He loses all structure, so you have to keep on that line. Does that make sense? Excellent. Let's partner up, work it out. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, John. Thank you, John.